I'm still trying to find Chuck an apology.
I guess something involving Jimmy Butler's hair.
Oh, great. Perfect. Thank you.
You
were consulted. Yeah, your
Uh-huh.
apology could be that you were consulted for Jimmy Butler's.
Do I need to switch
hair.
my? Okay, we're getting the hair in now. Okay, good.
All right. So you can apologize for doing Jimmy Butler's hair that way or something. Okay. Here we go. All right, and welcome to Fastbreak Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish here once again through the miracle of computer phone. Here with my buddies Chuck Anderson,
Hey now,
and John Burr.
How do, everyone?
John Burr, we can see on the Zoom. You can see it on YouTube if you go to YouTube in a couple hours, let's say. Recording from the Colonel's pad from Boogie Nights, it appears. Is that terry cloth you're wearing?
Indeed, of course. Can't be by the pool without a terry cloth.
Are you at someone's... All right, I have multiple questions. I'm going to lay them all out before you answer. 1, is that your robe? 2, is that the robe of someone you're staying with? 3, are you at like an Airbnb where they provided robes?
This is a robe I travel with.
This is your travel robe. You pack and bring a robe with you.
What?
This is my travel robe.
That blows my mind.
When I come to Los Angeles, I usually stay at my boss's house in the pool house. So
all right.
I remember this. I mean, the backdrop looks familiar. I definitely made the same Boogie Nights reference last year. And
not bad.
But the fact that you travel with the robe, which by the way, travel robe is not your robe like for the airplane. It's the robe you travel with. I think that's an important distinction. Yeah. But I mean, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe that's a level. I don't have a robe in my own house. I
have multiple robes.
Because I used to travel so much, I became obsessed with efficient yet comfortable travel. And like things like there's rules I feel like you need a robe when you go places. Like you just never know when you'll need a robe to feel comfortable. I also feel like there's a level of like I don't want to be the guy in like gym shorts and a t-shirt on the plane. But I also don't want to be the guy like miserably uncomfortable. Yeah. So I find like clothes that are made of fabrics that are like secretly soft. So I have like slacks, but they're like made by Nike. So they're like weird, like soft slacks. And
you're just talking about athleisure. I mean, that's fine.
Yes, athleisure.
Well, say no, it honestly sounded like you were describing that you were going to wear your robe on the plane, which I think is a terrible idea.
No, too hot. Planes get hot.
They do get hot, but I'm with you, John. I don't travel in shorts. That's just not me. I mean, I'm an adult, and I'm on the plane.
I've done it like in desperate times, like at the end of like a 6-week tour stretch, flying home, and like I'm crazy and I can't live like this anymore. I'm basically in my underpants.
I think I guess I didn't come from a robe household. Am I supposed to start using robes now? Like I'm so lost on robes. When I go to hotels, like when I was staying in Las Vegas and they have a robe provided for you in the closet, I don't touch it because I'm worried it's like the mini bar. Like if I move it, I get charged for using the robe.
From our years of podcasting together, that you probably sleep with lots of clothing on.
No, no.
Well, how do you sleep, Keith? In your drawers?
Normally just underwear.
Not me. Okay. Bucket naked.
Just underwear.
Fully in the buff when I sleep.
See, I'm a naked guy, and then I got to transition to. I have to transition to nearly naked, which is my robe.
Well, so when I wake up, the first thing I put on, I just throw on the basketball shorts. I'm a basketball shorts man nowadays.
I get that. I like to wear sweatpants in the house, basketball shorts, or running shorts. When I'm not, I want to get back to John's Kato Kalin like experience there in Los Angeles
in the pool house.
Is there a small glass bowl full of cocaine anywhere near you? Because it feels that looks like a cocaine house. I'm going to be honest with you.
It could also be the yellow tinted glasses John is wearing.
Oh, and that
our listeners cannot see.
Yeah, it's got that vibe for sure.
No.
Have you ever heard disruptance at night and it's understood as a pool house guest, just not your business?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
don't ask, don't tell.
trails. I don't.
You step over gloves.
That's right.
Find.
You see discarded gloves.
If I see a mysterious Bronco, that's not my business.
It's not your business.
That's good.
If you see something, you say nothing. That's the rules of
guest housing.
Pool house lodging. Gentlemen, have we had breakfast? John, have you had breakfast? I know you've been traveling around the country. I know you were in LA. You flew back to Nashville. And honestly, I should ask you about this, maybe even before your breakfast. You attended what for you is your NBA Summer League. That's the way I interpret it. Like for me, NBA Summer League, peak of the year. It's Comic-Con for basketball nerds. You flew basically, it seemed like a red eye back and forth to come back home to Nashville to attend Ric Flair's final match.
Yes.
Was it everything you hoped?
Tearing my family apart. Because I flew all the way back I've been in LA for like a week and I have to be here for the rest of the month. And I flew all the way back to Nashville, not to visit my family, even for a
did you even see your child?
I did not.
That is incredible.
That's legendary. That's absolutely incredible.
That's all time.
I tried to not.
Bad Dad Hall of Fame.
I tried to not tell anyone, and I got busted.
Yeah.
I showed up on someone's Instagram.
Well,
saw it.
I went over to your social media because we can admit it's a downtime in the NBA season, and I went over to your social media because I knew everyone was talking about the Ric Flair thing, and I'm like, well, John's there. Let's see if he posted anything that I can share. No, you posted nothing. You had no. I mean, you gave some stuff in the Patreon only Slack. You were wearing Ric Flair shoes.
Yes, the Dame Lillard Ric Flair shoes. And it's the first time I've ever worn them. It's funny because I'd never put them on. It's like a message from the wrestling gods. It's like, now is your time to wear them one time and then put them away forever.
So what did it live up to your hopes, your expectations, your fears? Was it horrifying to watch this old man go through this?
Let's talk about so I didn't want to go to this. I felt like I owed it to him.
You had to pay your respects.
I felt like I owed. Yeah, I felt like I owed. Like I was afraid, and I think it was rather ghoulish. Now, I also don't understand why everyone's getting quite as upset in terms of his age, just because there's wrestlers like Jerry Lawler, Superstar Bill Dundee, Alabama junior heavyweight Mike Jackson, who wrestled well into their 70s. Wrestlers just don't stop wrestling. Terry Funk wrestled, and it was all fine for them to do it. However, I think the proper context provided is that Ric Flair, 2, maybe 3 years ago, was in a coma induced mostly by alcoholism, of which he is still an alcoholic. So I think people are a little worried about exploitation. And but in this case, I think Ric Flair is exploiting himself, and that's what wrestlers do, and that's what he's always done. And I just felt like if I had, and at first it was going to be at the Nashville Fairgrounds, which was also the first time I ever saw Ric Flair, was at the Nashville Fairgrounds in it's at the Municipal Auditorium. The first time I ever saw Ric Flair was in 1989 at the Municipal Auditorium.
Oh, wow.
So there was all these weird synergistic things that I'm not a superstitious man, but I was like, I kind of have to do this and get my entire family really mad at me.
I think
divorce.
The pay and respects, it makes sense. This is a guy's been very Chuck, important to you.
If you don't play, you can't. If you don't play, you can't lose. If you're not married, you can't get divorced.
That's true. Never mind. Disregard.
What was the what was the highlight? I mean, I know for me, from someone who doesn't follow wrestling, it did seem very on the nose, like it was the movie The Wrestler type thing, where like this is a person just abused.
I just saw an old man. This is a depression.
Bleeding. Like this is horrifying.
So he went too hard and tried to be like, it was not like chop figure 4, I win, yay. He went too hard and spent a long, and I'm sure theory of relativity wise, endless to me, time just laying on the ground bleeding. Because Ric Flair is essentially one of the great gore hounds of wrestling. It doesn't even have to blade anymore. He can slap his head until it bleeds now. Which is insane. That's how thick the scar tissue is there. And he, of course, bled like a fool. But kudos to Jeff Jarrett and the guys who were wrestling with him, Jay Lethal, and I can't remember Rick's son-in-law's name. I think Andrade Del Idolo. He's a famous Mexican wrestler who rules. They made the match fun when Rick wasn't in it, and when Rick was in it, he gave it his all, and it was very intense. I will say, like, his obsession with celebrity has somewhat ruined listening to Ric Flair speak at any time, because then this is very wrestling for people like Kid Rock to still matter to wrestling decades later. Like after they've long run out their usefulness for even popular culture for like a podcast, because somehow the last thing we're ever going to hear Ric Flair say is like, and now let's all go out and party with Kid Rock on Lower Broad. Woo! It's just like, oh God. But I don't know. I had to be there. A lot of wrestling fandom is filled with shame, and it's just another chapter of shame.
I mean, is there an NBA parallel? I mean, thankfully, NBA players have pensions. I mean, shout out the ABA, who was just given a pension by the NBA like 2 weeks ago or something. But I mean, is there, like if a hobbled Mark Gasol was like, I'm going to play one final game, and he's like 80, he's 68 years old or something. Like I would have to go back, but there's probably no parallel in basketball, right?
I mean, there is certainly no parallel unless, I mean, I don't even think like Magic Johnson's return could be compared to the likes of Ric Flair's return. This would be like, Michael Jordan coming back for it actually would be like, the long rumored things like where Michael Jordan's like, I can still beat people. Yeah. It'd be like if Michael Jordan was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to play a few games, or I'm going to play a game. It would be like that. And it would be two guys who have, amassed and spent fortunes multiple times.
How does it compare to Allen Iverson playing 3 games on the Grizzlies?
I think Allen Iverson still thought he had some sort of career at that point. Yeah. Somehow. Whereas so I guess maybe the same level of delusional.
Well, I'm glad you got to experience.
I'm sure Jerry Lawler was somehow involved in all of this. It's very Memphis, very wrestling.
I mean, we can't get Ric Flair involved in some of these Grizzlies wrestling nights. I mean, they have multiple Grizzlies wrestling nights every year. Seems like they could ask him. They wouldn't make him jump off a ladder and fall through a table. I'm sure they could work out a.
I don't want to ruin this wonder. I don't want to ruin the vibe here, but Ric Flair's a really bad alcoholic, and alcoholism destroys most of your friendships.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have many left.
So, hey, I'm right here, man.
I went to the Ric Flair roast, and it wasn't any of his old friends. It wasn't Arn Anderson. It wasn't Jerry Lawler. It was all of his new friends.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a bummer.
There was a lot of morbidity to it, but there was also plenty of joyousness as well. And it's great that the crowd was losing their mind the entire time. The wrestling matches they put on before were, excellent, and like a really cool spread of, everything from lucha libre to more technical stuff to hardcore stuff. So it was a really cool show, and I had a good time, and I went with a lot of my friends, and it's something I had to do. Yeah. It was like my Field of Dreams thing.
Yeah.
And I've made jokes about, my family getting mad at me, but honestly, once I explained that, she was like, "Oh yeah, okay."
Yeah.
Ric Flair's like probably the largest influence in my life, sadly. So
I'm just trying not to think about my future of like podcasting when I'm 80. That's just, I try to put that far from my brain. Man, don't
if you're as good
roll
me
away from the
80?
microphone, friends and family. Anyways, let's do our breakfast. Have you had Chuck? You had a breakfast? What you been eating on?
I just put some granola in a tub of Oikos Greek yogurt.
Oh yeah.
And mixed it up real well, and that was my bread. So I buy these like tubs.
That's good.
I don't do the single serving yogurt with, so I buy a tub of yogurt.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments is when I'm down to the last serving in my tub of yogurt. I just put the granola directly into the tub. I don't have to
living like a king.
You guys know my situation with dishwashing. I just rinse. And,
you horrified us.
So yeah, that way I don't have
I'm using the spoon, why wash it?
Exactly. It's my germs. Also, I've been sick for like 2 months, so maybe I should probably do something about that. But yeah, I threw some granola and some vanilla Oikos, 0 sugar, high protein. It's like a bunch of protein, so it fills me up, and then I don't have to eat until like 4 o'clock.
Here's what I want you to plan: a special week of Chuck, where every time you get close to the bottom of the tub of yogurt, you save it, you start a new one. And then one day you're like, I can go multiple days in a row, just throwing the granola and that big. What if I'll pre-empty some
yogurt goes
some
bad
yogurt
real quick.
Yeah, I thought about that. It's it might be the yogurt on your spoon that's giving you trouble. But all right, maybe birthday week, I'll prepare you a bunch of yogurt. Just bring a bunch of Oikos yogurt with just a little bit in the bottom, so you can use that whole container for your parfait.
I would love that gift.
I have a potentially humorous Oikos story. When Allie went on the trip one time, and it was like the first time I had to take care of our like 1-year-old at the time. She came home, checked it out. I'd had the house professionally cleaned, unbeknownst to her, so that was pretty good. I didn't get in trouble for anything like that. But she did come out. She came out with an Oikos container that was almost entirely eaten with some bits of granola in it, and was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "That's the baby yogurt." And she's like, "Are you feeding the baby continually from one yogurt bowl and adding more granola each time?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's the baby yogurt. You cannot do this." Apparently there's something, Chuck, apparently it is like very bad to do what you do with the dishes, and even like cross-contamination with the same spoon or the same bowl or any of that is a huge no-no.
I was just thinking, like, why not just, you have the big container. We talking like 16 ounces? Is it bigger? Like a 16-ounce container
huge,
of yogurt,
man.
Just sprinkle the granola on top. Make sure you eat them all out.
I might try that. I might try that.
That sounds fine to me.
Yeah.
Maybe not for a 1-year-old, but
for a grown-up, a lazy grown-up.
For a grown-up Chuck, works.
Glenn Big Baby Davis loved it. She was so jacked up when I pulled that bowl out. It's like, it's John, the baby yogurt.
What's your breakfast? You have an LA avocado toast. What do they even eat? Avocado toast is like 15 years ago. What's the new LA breakfast?
Pool water. A lot of pool water. I didn't have time. I'm
on like ranch water?
Pacific time. It should be. I mean, I think I'd rather drink pool water than ranch water.
Pool water sounds more appealing than ranch water to me.
Yeah.
I finally tried ranch water just to pick up what you were putting down, and it was completely abhorrent.
Oh man, I'm so glad I got sober before the hard seltzer craze that has swept America.
I think it might have put me out, man. I think that might have pushed me out if I hadn't.
I've never had a White Claw.
I don't want sweet treats.
I want that on my tombstone. If I succeed and
never had a White Claw,
I die. Never had a White Claw. That's it.
That works. It's something to be proud of. I mean, sobriety. Sure, be proud of sobriety, but more importantly, be proud.
That's why I'm not going back, because I might just try White Claw.
My breakfast was.
I don't know if. I'll start. Go ahead.
I want to say my breakfast was a very toddler appropriate handful of Cheerios. Once again, I really got to step up. I mean, we're circling the drain of summer right now. In the parish household, school is starting back very, very soon. I'm honestly pretty fired up about it. This whole summer break thing, nope. Seemed like more work.
Yeah.
I had frosted Cheerios, Chuck. They're amazing.
They're the best.
I mean, obviously, there's just Cheerios with a ton of sugar on them, and sugar rules. So it was quite delicious. Anyways, we've gone all off the track so far. We had to get into Ric Flair talk. And also it's August, baby. But those were our breakfasts. After our breakfasts, we moved to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about the NBA. Does anyone have anything, hopefully NBA related, that they need or want to apologize for?
Well, I got a call this week from my good friend Jimmy Butler. Him and I text all the time. We share a history with Rachel Nichols, the both of us. So we was
gentlemen,
texting.
Come on, bros.
Do not tell. Come on.
He texted me. He's like, "Hey Chuck, bro, what should I do with my hair?" And then the only thing I texted back, "Go big or go home." And I'm sorry, but he took that literally. I am floored by the amount of fake hair he's put on the top of his head. He makes Alfred Payton's hair look, modest by comparison. And I don't know if he's going to play in that thing. Maybe he's trying some sort of new training regimen where he's strengthening his neck muscles. I'm not sure what's going on, but he put like 40 pounds of dreadlocks on top of his hair. Can I tell you though, it looks pretty good.
It looks fun.
He looks like one of the bad guys from Predator 2. You want some ganja, man?
I'm a fan. I like this Jimmy Butler trying out hairstyles. By the way, all NBA players, please
come on,
mix up the hairstyles. Give me different facial hair configurations. Get extensions if you need. I need more big beards. I need more like Zion Williams doing the fro. Looks incredible. Well,
love it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but just I like variety. I'm a variety man. I like a little mustache here, a beard there. But I prefer this Jimmy Butler over the, hey guys, it's 3:30 a.m. I just hit the gym. Like, shut up. No one cares how early you're working out.
This could have been my best, but he's in Columbia. Jimmy's in Columbia, and there's video of him playing
Columbia, Tennessee?
Columbia, the country.
South Carolina, I think, right? He's in Columbia, the country?
Okay.
Yes, and he's playing.
He is a bad guy from Predator 2.
He's playing pickup basketball with a bunch of like coffee farmers or something.
Oh, is he getting his beans? Is this his bean hookup?
And he's getting his bean hookup.
That's amazing.
Just dunking all over.
He's got his secret beans.
Yeah, he's getting his secret beans, and he's just dunking all over these
amazing
hard manual laborers in Colombian soccer jerseys. It was incredible. If you can find it, go get it.
My apology. I made a mistake last week on the show. I misspoke. I think everyone understood what we were doing here. Cause like we were playing the game of scones, talking about the Pistons and the high draft pedigree on their team. They have all these guys taken in the lottery. And you guessed Kemba Walker. And I said, yes, that's correct. Still on the Knicks, which was very confusing because he's on the Pistons. I gave you a correct answer for him being on the Pistons, but at least one listener was confused and upset that I made the error. And I was like, yes, I misspoke. I meant the Pistons. I said the Knicks. Kemba Walker, as far as we know, is still on the Pistons.
I also misspoke and called him Clambake Walker, but that's not quite as egregious a mistake. My apology this week. There was a bit of an intervention on me from some listeners, and I am deeply sorry if this is true, and I believe it to be true, because if there is a member of the podcast to be most easily swayed or like MK Ultra'd by mainstream media, it would be me. But apparently I cannot go a show without bringing up the Boston Celtics and making them part of my segments. So I am going to take the death of civil rights hero Bill Russell as a moment of silence, a moratorium on all things Celtics, unless brought up by one of you's twos. Okay. So
all right, that's fair.
Stop.
Well, you grew up a Celtics fan. I mean, you're a stereotypical
like
Larry Bird lover. I don't mind saying it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Like, he's my favorite player of all time. I still ingest a lot of Celtics media via Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo, and they're just, they're one of the most discussed teams, and it just kind of falls into my They made the final. Give me a break.
I know.
They were amazing last year, and they might be the best team in the NBA right now. But also, can I make a suggestion with your Celtics moratorium talk? Could we include that umbrella Bill Simmons talk? I feel like you might mention Bill Simmons basically every episode.
You love him.
I mean, I think you're on a roll right now. You're on a roll of you got a streak going. This is like back when Chuck said bodega, something like 38 consecutive episodes 4 years ago.
Or umami.
Can I bring up 1980s movies that no one ever watched?
I was about to say, it's not your fault. It's John. I've come to this acceptance in my life that, like, listen, if I talk about movies, I'm going to bring up the Coen brothers. I had no choice. That's my demographic, my age. I got hooked on the Coen brothers. And so it's the same thing. We're hooked on Bill Simmons. Like,
we're genetically predispositioned to say things that we say.
Can we get one of those signs, like a workplace accident sign, like this many days since the last mention of the Celtics or Bill Simmons?
Yeah. So
I will try.
I do want to use this opportunity since we're talking about Bill Simmons, Bill Russell, and the Celtics. Bill Russell obviously just died. Rest in peace to the big man. The Tommy Heinsohn Bill Russell quote. Have you heard it? It's incredible. It popped back up, and this is what Tommy said. Look, all I know is the guy won 2 NCAA championships, 50-some college games in a row, the 56 Olympics. Then he came to Boston, won 11 championships in 13 years, and they named a fucking tunnel after Ted Williams.
Respect,
shout out Tommy Heinsohn.
So Bill Russell had that incredible stat. He never lost a game 7 in the playoffs.
Never 21 elimination games, 21-0.
That includes Olympics and NCAA. But how do you never lose a game 7? And that's just nuts. Bill Russell had a career winning percentage of 71.7%, which is great. But did you guys know there's someone? This is not a joke. I feel like when I said, but did you guys know, it felt like I was doing a fake thing. No, this is a real thing. There's a current NBA player who has a higher winning percentage than Bill Russell.
Yeah.
So any ideas?
I'm
talking about not like someone who's played 2 games. Someone who's played
I will
hundreds of games.
I will take this opportunity to bring up a certain song.
Oh, here we go. Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage. A game of scones, Chuck?
Game of scones. I think I know where you're going here.
It felt like a preemptive strike game of scones. Go ahead.
Highest winning percentage. Now
they did not. They did not tag team on this.
No. This was completely
in the moment.
So you're going to name Kawhi Leonard as the person with a higher winning percentage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Am I right? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
That is minimum 500 games.
Okay.
We're going to go a little bigger, zoom out. Highest winning percentage of players who have played at least 1,000 games.
Are these all-time players?
These are all-time players. You're gonna do well if you pick really good folks. But there's some similarities in this, and there's some coincidences. I don't know, but we'll see.
Wow.
Who wants to go first? Highest winning percentage of players played at least 1,000 games.
1,000 games is a lot.
John Burr's volunteered.
Yes.
Who you got?
Yes. I will go in my new moratorium on bringing them up. I will bring up their biggest rival. I'll say Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson. Oh, by the way, this is the top 25 players.
All right.
Okay. So that's where we'll stop. God, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
Don't
16,
have to count
17,
out loud.
18, 19, 20, 21. So top 20, you are wrong. Magic Johnson is not in the top 20.
Whoa.
Winning percentage?
Winning percentage.
Love it.
Can't be true.
Nope.
Let's do
1,000 games played, not in the top 20.
I don't think that's right.
Let's do Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is 5th at 0.68. 68% winning percentage. Burr.
I'm going to break my own rule and say
Larry Bird.
We cut out there. We heard Larry. We knew the rest.
Larry Bird. Sorry, I'm going to say Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
I'm gonna choose to view him as an Indiana Pacer so that my moratorium remains.
Larry Bird is not on this list.
Another strike. I'm gonna go with Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Michael Jordan is on this list.
Bang!
Maybe 8th or 9th. I'm not counting. Again. Birdman. Is he froze?
Birdman froze.
He's currently in the pool house.
Say that again.
Sorry about that. I didn't know if it was me, so I just restarted.
It's all good. Burr, you were right. Magic Johnson does have a very high winning percentage. However, he didn't play the requisite amount of games. Neither did Larry Bird. Both played
games.
Around 900 games.
So, yeah, I mean, 1,000 games is a ton of basketball games.
So definitely Larry Bird didn't play 1,000.
Yeah.
No, he played just short of 900.
All right, back to you, John, though. I believe the board is back to you.
All right. I was so confused. Wow. 1,000. Okay. Is it my turn?
Yes.
I'm going to go with Tim Duncan then. I'm going to change my strategy.
I think that's a great.
Tim Duncan, second all-time winning percentage by just a hair. And he played almost 1,400 games.
I'm gonna stick on that, and I'm gonna go Manu Ginobili.
Manu Ginobili,
yeah,
number one
Woo!
On this list. A 72% winning percentage and 1,057 games.
Just barely 1,000.
There should be, if those two are on the list, there should be an easy one.
I got some ideas.
I'll do Tony Parker.
There we go. Number 3 on the list, 71%.
So I'll be real. I had a game of scones locked and loaded that was very similar to this. and maybe we'll hit it as well. But anyways, I do feel like I was well prepared. But I'm going to go with our boy LeBron James.
LeBron James is on this list. He is 12th or 13th. I don't know. 1,300 games, 1,366 games, and 65% winning percentage.
Love it.
Scottie Pippen.
Scottie Pippen up there, 1,178 games, 68.8% winning percentage. Same as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
What about Shaquille O'Neal?
Shaquille O'Neal's just shy of Scottie Pippen on this list.
Oh, but he's on it.
He's on the list.
Woo! Still perfect.
Still perfect. Burr, you do have 2 strikes, so your next one will render you the loser.
You have to play 1,000 games.
A lot of games.
A lot of games.
And be really good for a really long time.
And not find yourself on like the Bobcats.
Or just play on really good teams.
Yes.
That part too.
One of the biggest keys.
There are some role players on this list.
I'm sort of obsessed with this guy. He played on a million good teams. And I can't say the news, so I'll say Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge, 4th all-time winning percentage.
Amazing.
69%. Nice.
That's incredible. What about?
Of course, we would say Danny Ainge, a former Celtic. You
former
jabroni.
Yeah. I'm gonna say another Celtic.
Like the Mormons.
What about John Havlicek?
John Havlicek is on this list. 65%, 1,200 games.
I think Tommy Heinsohn probably smoked too many cigarettes to hit 1,000 games. But I'll try another Celtic with Sam Jones.
Sam Jones is not on this list. Keith Parrish is the victor.
That was a perfect game.
Yes. Let's do some of the notable role players. Robert Horry,
was
Derek
Rodman
Fisher.
On there?
No,
I had Robert Horry in my queue. Robert Horry was coming up in my queue.
Robert Horry. No, Steve Kerr is not on here. Robert Horry, Derek Fisher, Byron Scott. These are the role players.
Michael Cooper, maybe.
Chet Walker, Vlade Divac.
Most of these guys are now being cast for Winning Time Season 2. You want to, if you're between 20 and 30 and have basketball experience and are over 6'2", they're casting Kurt Rambis and Byron Scott currently. No, so
Bo Burnham is Kurt Rambis.
let's do my affiliated related game of scones.
Let's do it
again. So
we don't have to, John. No, we don't. Okay, Dinklage. Okay.
If we do it twice, we have to pay royalties.
Yeah. To Dinklage himself.
Which current NBA players have the highest winning percentage? One of these, I'm going to go and take one off the board who said LeBron James has the 6th highest winning percentage. He's off the board. Kawhi Leonard off the board has the highest winning percentage. 70. I mean, that's crazy. 75% winning percentage for Kawhi Leonard.
Yes. But he's only played 500 games.
Yeah. So this has a cutoff of 400 games played.
Mm-hmm.
If you name someone who's played fewer games than that, you make it take it. You get to try again. Which current NBA players with at least 400 games played have the highest winning percentage? Chuck, let's put you on the spot since John.
I'm gonna cheat. I was looking at a list, and Chris Paul is on that list. So my research has helped me. Is he on?
Chris Paul is 8th on this list. Okay. Correct, Chuck.
But that's all I got. The rest of them I'm gonna make up.
I feel like I'm opening a doorway to correct answers for Chuck, but I can't think of anyone else. So I'll just say Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson is 3rd, 69.4%. Good job.
Let's do Draymond Green.
Draymond Green is 4th. Good job, Chuck. Those two guys have a famous teammate.
I guess Steph is probably still on there, even though he played more.
Steph Curry is 5th. They
lost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Steph Curry is 5th. Good job, John. Back to you, Chuck.
Let's go with Jason Tatum. He's always been on.
Jason Tatum, make it take it. Not 400 games yet. He's technically percentage-wise, yes, he's right there. Hasn't played enough games yet. Try again.
Okay. How about James Harden?
James Harden is 9th. Good job, Chuck. He's won 65% of his games.
I'm going to go with the winningest player in NBA history, according to Coach Dave Duffer, Danny Green.
Well played. I focused on him on this week's Grits and Grinds. Danny Green, 70.9% winning percentage in his games. Definitely being on that Spurs team forever, winning 67 games a year. Crushing it. Good job, John. Yeah, he's number 2. The man right behind Kawhi. All right. There are, I would say now there's one big name and then there's a lot of kind of funny names. They're gettable, but they're kind of funny.
It's Kevin Durant on this list.
Kevin Durant is the one remaining big name. He's 14th in winning percentage. And honestly, we should throw out those Warriors years. Those don't even count. So he should not be on this list. KD should not be on this list. Good job, Chuck. John, you've faced so far 2 opponents who have yet to stumble. I don't know. Do you feel like you've been pummeled like Ric Flair in his final match?
Let's make something clear. I was stupid and didn't understand the 1,000-game parameter. I think I'm good at this type of game.
No, you're good.
You're good.
I have a strategy now. All
right.
I feel like Danny Green has opened something for me.
Yeah.
So I have a new strategy. I'm going to say George Niang.
Not enough games. Not enough games. So make it take it.
Okay.
I can keep going.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to stay on my strategy, and this guy probably doesn't have enough games either, but I was going to say Landry Shamet.
He's not on my notes. I don't know if his
Well, my strategy was obviously to take Joel Embiid adjacent players.
They
won a lot of games in the last 5 years. God!
All right, so that's
done it again.
Strike for John.
I'm not going to go Joel Embiid because Keith told us that the only big name that was left was
Joel Embiid. Not enough games. Not enough games. Hasn't hit that 400 game plateau yet.
Wow. Okay. Bad strat. I'm really bad. Right after declaring myself the victor, very bad at this game. I have a new strategy. Back on a new strategy. New strategy.
What about? What about? Damn, this is hard. Jimmy Butler, but he's a big name.
Jimmy Butler is not on this list. That's a strike for Chuck. And honestly,
no longer a big name, but was on a bunch of winning teams and the most handsome NBA player and a great cook, Serge Ibaka.
Hey, that's a nice get. Serge Ibaka is 7th winning percentage.
Oh, I think he'd be that good.
What about Carmelo Anthony?
No, apologies. Another strike for Chuck. Chuck finds himself now on the brink, on the precipice with 2 strikes. John, I'm not sure if you have 2 strikes or not. You said you did.
I do.
I think you got to make it take.
Strikes.
Okay. All right. 2 strikes. Next miss ends the game.
I did Landry Shamet and I did I did George Niang.
But George Niang was a make it take it. Did not count.
Oh, okay. So
you have 1 strike. You have 1 strike. All right.
I'm going to go with. Sorry, I know we're running out of time. I'm going to go with DeMar DeRozan.
That is another strike.
Yeah, too many losses.
All right, next miss loses. Next miss
Spurs season
loses.
What about Patty Mills?
Yes. Patty
great.
Mills is correct. The pressure is.
I was trying to get into that good Spurs era and thought of a bad Spurs era. How long did Thiago Splitter play?
I'm sorry, John. I'm giving you the X on the Thiago Splitter feeler.
It was a joke. That's fine.
The remaining players: Pascal Siakam, who's played exactly 400 games, skin of his teeth. George Hill, Spurs connection. Pat Connaughton, Bucks connection.
What?
And then Norman
Pat
Powell.
Connaughton's played 500 games.
Norman Powell, 400. He's played 400 something. 417.
When I freaked out and said DeRozan, I was trying to get into that Raptors maelstrom. That's where I was.
Raptors maelstrom
and I was thinking, and then I got Fred VanVleet in my head, and then I was like, "There's no way Fred VanVleet's played enough games."
He hasn't played enough games. But VanVleet and Anunoby all have the win percentage up there, but not as good. Anyways, that was a double game of scones out of the apologies, a rarely seen
double
event.
Double loss.
Double loss for John. I mean, in your defense, John, both Chuck and I prepared very similar information. Got our minds on the right track. Anyways,
I like that game though. That's a very fun game. I like games where you can, without knowing the stats themselves, you can extrapolate just from a general knowledge of the history. It's a lot of fun.
Before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, I want to tell you to visit grindcitymedia.com today for the most up-to-date and exclusive coverage and analysis of the Grizzlies you can get. Grind City Media is always there, home and road, providing the most comprehensive Grizzlies coverage. Plus, get your local and regional sports fix all in one spot. For more information and behind-the-scenes access on the Grizzlies, visit grindcitymedia.com or follow at Grind City Media today. All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? John, what's your steak and eggs?
So I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, and you guys might get mad at me. Maybe this is a bad thing, but I got in early on the Thunder under win total, which I know I'm not supposed to see the win totals, but it's inescapable, and I've lost so much equity by trying to wait each year. I finally got in because it was insanely high, and I just feel I'm very excited to get under. I think it was at like 32 games or something crazy, like something's absurd, and I finally back there on betting against the Thunder. It's going to be a great way to spend the season. I feel like it's free money. I'm sorry I saw the win totals. It was only for some of the teams. I'll try to abstain.
So it's fine, John. And I don't know if we needed to address this to our listeners. For our longtime listeners who know, we like really treasure and enjoy coming up with our own win totals, doing our over-unders without being influenced by what the betting markets are it's like literally I always tried to avoid seeing the over-unders. It's impossible now. It's literally like teams are all sponsored by gambling. And it's just like all NBA coverage is the gambling. It's really hard not to see those.
I mean, I'd be willing to move our over-under win show to the night after the draft.
I mean, that's honestly, it's kind of fun. Like I will tell you, because I knew I was going to go and see him. I do like to come up with my totals before I see a Vegas total. So then I could be like, oh, there's a big difference. That interests me. And my first pass, I was way too many wins. When it has to add up to 1,200 and something, 1,230 right. Total wins are out there. And I was like 100 wins too many. I'm like, I'm way too optimistic on so many teams. But that will definitely be a fun part. No, I mean, I think you're right. The Thunder are a big question mark. And actually, we're going to do a thing where we talk about like the swing players for each team. And I think that'll be a fun way to kind of preview in the summer. The Thunder are one where there's a lot of guys where it's like, man, what if Chet's amazing? Like, are they still like going to shut it down for Wembanyama? I think probably.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the players at all. It's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
They're just going to do what it takes to lose.
Well, so like I'm like looking ahead to just like this massive tank battle that will be occurring. And like I'm just trying to gauge, like, you know, if you have the worst record, reminder to everyone listening, you have a 14% chance at getting the top pick. So you could lose all of your games and you have a 1 in 7 basically chance of getting the top pick. And I'm seeing this tank battle. You know, the Spurs are in it to win it, but it's like, well, what if Pop has some semblance of competence among this team? The Rockets have like 8 drafted rookies from the last 2 years on their roster. We assume they'll be terrible. The Pacers, they're trying to blow it up. The Jazz, who knows? I mean, I am not to mention Bill Simmons. I'm open to a Ewing theory argument. I know the Jazz have been horrible without Gobert the last few seasons, but maybe it's all vibes. Like the Jazz might get into it. The Magic could be bad. The Thunder, this is basically what they've been tanking for years. You now have the one magical player. I mean, the Pistons, who knows? The Hornets, who knows? It's going to be really interesting. All those teams vying for the illustrious 27% chance at Scoot or Victor. And
Wembanyama.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. My best thing is the league has said enough is enough. And I don't know if I'm stepping on your toes here, Chuck. I assume this made you happy too. The league has opened tampering investigations into the 76ers and the New York Knicks over their offseason. I'm going to call them shenanigans, the wheeling and dealing. I love this because Chuck, the Miami Heat got a slap on the wrist. They lost a second-round pick last year.
Yeah.
Because of the Kyle Lowry impropriety, the league decided. I would like to think Pat Riley was like, PJ Tucker was announced to the Sixers
40 seconds
like,
after.
No, like a week before free agency started for a team that didn't have any space to sign him to a full MLE. I assume Pat Riley, not him, because he's above the fray. But he had Haslam probably deliver a message. He said, listen,
Andy Ellisberg.
Fish wrapped in newspaper.
Yeah. And Andy Ellisberg was in the hallway at league offices.
I think the Sixers are absolutely going to get punished. It's too weird for James Harden to voluntarily just take a $15 million pay cut or whatever the pay cut was exactly. He didn't sign an extension. He just declined $47 million and like, it's cool. Give me 33. And then I'll be a free agent next year. You were already going to be a free agent next year.
Right.
Like he just took a $15 million pay cut and this announcement for PJ Tucker was a week before these things were supposed to be out there. Like they had to stay under the apron to sign him. And then it's like, oh yeah, we signed him. And then James Harden did this big favor. I mean, what's the argument? What's the Sixers argument that it's like not tampering or it's not a violation?
But their prior relationships, is it
Embiid?
Yeah.
Here's the argument. I guess I would go with. Did Embiid tell Harden, "Hey man, you owe me a PJ Tucker because you stunk." So I've been talking to PJ Tucker on my own, and I'm aware that he will come to our team, and he would prefer to come to our team. But this is how much money it's going to take. And I did my own math. I didn't talk to my GM. I didn't talk to anybody in the front office. By my math, I need you because of how bad you were in the elimination game, I need you to take a little bit of a haircut here. So we have room to bring in PJ Tucker. And by the way, I'm now going to leak this without having communicated with my front office. I'm going to leak this to a newsbreaker. Is this the argument for everything was done above board?
I think what could happen is that the league could fine Joel Embiid for disparaging James Harden so much that he believes he's worth $15 million less. He's not the Houston James Harden, and it got into James Harden said could there be a bullying fine?
No, he's right. Yeah, he's right.
He's right. He got to think that, and then
Can Joel Embiid win GM of the year for this?
Yeah, and then Embiid tweeting about Jimmy Butler needing help, like that could have been like a way to tamper with James Harden's contract. Maladies, whatever he's choosing to do with his money. It is interesting. There should be a fine for stealing DeAnthony Melton from the Grizz were involved. Was there a blackmail? Did Scott Kleiman get blackmailed?
Zach Kleiman?
Zach, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know the name.
You said Scott was his name.
I said Scott.
I didn't love that trade.
I mean, what's going on? There's a lot going on. The Daniel
House
is really
good. I don't know how.
We can all together hate Daryl Morey together now.
I love this. We all have specific reasons to hate that chubby numbers dude.
Please don't body shame. The Knicks one is harder because Jalen Brunson grew up with the entire front office. It's they got childhood videos.
Yeah,
his dad was working for the Knicks. I don't know how they're gonna. I don't see the punishment happening there. But the Sixers feels like they're definitely losing 1 second round pick.
There's nothing gonna happen. It's just all lip service. Second rounders don't matter.
Yeah.
And if you're not gonna this isn't going to impede this sort of behavior. People aren't
Kenny
thinking
Lofton
twice
Jr.
about it.
would like a word, Chuck.
Our starting power
forward, Kenny Lofton Jr. would like a word.
Did you see that the Miami Dolphins got docked a first rounder for tanking?
What?
I love it. Good job, NFL. Apparently, they told the old coach Brian Flores that they offered him cash to lose games, which is, which is like NBA coaching jobs. You get paid to lose games. But
I think that's just Rick Carlisle.
Wait. So they got docked a first round pick.
And
for
I think
one season they've been bad.
First,
15
I think
years.
they got docked a first and a third, maybe for specifically telling Brian Flores, we will pay you $100,000 per loss. And he's
if you're going to find them for being unwatchable since Ricky Williams left the team. That's what you want to find them for.
I love
since Reggie Roby left the team.
Anyway, Chuck, what's your best thing?
My best thing this week comes from the NBA because that's what we talk about here.
What a segue.
Light on your feet, Chuck.
Can't you see how nimble I am?
Boxer.
So there's the Warriors won the championship. Everybody's getting paid except the billionaire doesn't want to pay for success. Draymond's doing extension. And he's using LeBron James
like a Jimmy Butler hair extension?
Like a hair extension. He's using LeBron James as a way to get his bag, which I adore. He's literally saying out loud that if you don't pay me, I'm going to go play with LeBron. And then LeBron and Draymond are seen palling about together. Draymond's taking pictures of LeBron with fans, something I know for sure LeBron doesn't do from his days in Miami. I know many people who ran into LeBron in Miami. He took 0 photos with them, and he just happens to be caught there's someone taking a photo of Draymond taking a photo. This all seems very conspiratorial. So
back and to the left.
So to me, it's a wonderful time that Draymond is attempting to recruit LeBron to get him to get paid, and shout out.
And LeBron's sticking into a competitor, making the luxury tax. Oh, by the way, those sweet luxury tax payments hit. It was the biggest disbursement ever. I just love hearing about owners
Who
getting
gets
money.
that tax? Who gets that?
The non-tax paying teams. The teams that did not pay tax. It's a beautiful socialism. It's the way everything should work.
It's redistribution of wealth.
It's a redistribution of the wealth. Again, that all the billionaire owners are like, yes, this makes sense. We should do this. Only in basketball. Except for the people that pay it.
They're like, this sucks, but I have rings.
So those are our best things. The opposite of the best thing is the cream of wheat. Worst thing. What's the worst thing you got from last week? Chuck, what's your worst thing?
So we'll go back to wrestling. Ric Flair is no longer going to wrestle, but apparently Dwight Howard wants to start wrestling. Word on the street is he's considering, if he doesn't get picked up to play NBA basketball, he's going to go to Orlando, where he started his basketball career, and start his wrestling career at the WWE Performance Training Institute. I don't know if it's called that, but that's what I call it in my head. I don't know if he'll be the tallest wrestler, but he might.
Going by wrestling, if they do the kind of the adjustment, Dwight Howard should be around roughly 7'9".
Right. When you apply the wrestling height formula.
I recently ran into Sheamus, the wrestler, at a Nashville soccer club game. Took a picture with him.
You pick him up and let him ride around on your back.
He isn't as big as he looks.
A jockey.
He's obviously in much better shape than me, but
you're saying you could beat him up? Let's put that out there.
I would fight that Irishman, and I'd have a chance, is what I'm saying. So I'd have a chance.
Chuck, I don't want to one-up your Sheamus story, but I also saw Sheamus one time, and it was at the movie Venom, and Sheamus was wearing a Venom shirt.
That's awesome.
He lives here in Nashville. What was great was that he was at the Nashville Soccer Club game on Saturday instead of being at SummerSlam, which was an interesting thing for me.
I love it. That's awesome. John, what's your worst thing?
So in my downtime between Ric Flair's last match events, I decided not to do any of the WWF entertainment and instead went to a Pro-Am game hosted by Keith and mine lust object, Robert Covington. And Darius Garland was there. I would have taken pictures, but I was trying not to be seen by my family in Nashville, so I didn't. But it was really cool, really fun. I loved how the players would not even go back down on defense and would just stop and yell at the old barbershop type dudes sitting courtside and just talk trash. But I have to say, Keith, I'm obsessed with Robert Covington and want him on the Grizzlies, and he was in his bag, as they say, and trying to one up everybody by taking step back threes and shooting shots right in guys' faces. My idol and lust object, Robert Covington, I did not see him make a basket.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
My off-season lust,
streaky shooter.
Yes.
Yeah, Tennessee State's own Robert Covington. I flew back from, I think it was last year. I flew back from Vegas on the same flight as him, and I was just thinking, man, the Nashville connection. We got to get him on the Grizzlies. Perfect stretch four. Perfect wing player. Now Jaren's out for a little bit. Yeah, I would like to have him. We can help out with Steve Ballmer's luxury tax. It'd be great. My worst thing. It's honestly a best thing. I know you're casting Winning Time right now, Lakers or HBO, but Lakers, get your house in order. Jenny Buss got her Twitter hacked, and the team account is trying to make up for it. The Lakers team account, arguably the greatest franchise in NBA history. Don't you say anything, John. The absolute most decorated NBA franchise. No other team has a claim. No other Northeastern city could claim that. No, the Lakers with the team account saying, please don't try to pay for a PS5 to Jeannie Buss's Twitter account. We'll have this fixed in no time. Anyways, those were our worst thing. No awards segment this week. No basketball. It's the saddest, but we're going to close the show, our par fadeaway. We're going to start a new thing where we talk about the swing player for each team for the upcoming season. And we're defining a swing player is the player who is perhaps the biggest variable for a team's success in the upcoming season. I know there's a little leeway how we want to interpret it, but we're going to start with the Southeast division. We'll go division by division the next 6 weeks. We'll start with the 5 teams in the Southeast. Let's start it with the best team last year in the Southeast, Chuck's Miami Heat. Chuck, you are the Miami Heat expert.
Also, I'm a swinging expert. So
you are also our swinging expert on this podcast, no question. Mm-hmm. Who do you think is the swing guy? And again, for clarity, we're not talking about Jimmy Butler. We're not talking about Bam Adebayo. We know those guys are all NBA caliber top players. But in your mind, who do you think is the most important variable for this team's success, whatever they want that success to be? For the Heat, it's making the finals.
So this is going to sound like a cop-out, but I don't know if I could pick one player because there's going to be a lot of competition for the starting 2-guard spot. You got Tyler Hero's going to come back 6th man of the year. He's looking to start. He's earned a starting spot because he was the best bench player last year. Max Strus started a bunch of games in the playoffs and played well. And then Victor Oladipo, who came in on a very team-friendly contract, is looking to get paid, so he's going to want to get some minutes. I see whoever separates themselves from the other two is going to be somebody who makes the Miami Heat a lot better. I'm ignoring the glaring hole at power forward that the Heat have right now, because that could be, if we get in a Harrison Barnes or something like that, like I could daydream with you here all day about what we can get for Duncan Robinson and some picks. But right now, this roster, it's probably for me going to be either Victor Oladipo or Tyler Hero. If we see Tyler Hero take that leap, which the numbers say he can, like his regular season numbers last year, his pull-up numbers, his catch and shoot numbers, like he could be a guy who takes another leap, even though both of you won't believe it when I say it in preseason.
I don't even believe the stats he accrued last year actually happened.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. I watched the playoffs and I'm like, that's the Tyler Hero I was talking about. You're telling me this guy averaged 21 points per game? No chance.
Like Zach Lowe was wrong. All of this stuff was hallucination. No, but like Victor Oladipo with a full, training camp and Tyler Hero with another year in the weight room, like those two guys, if they become like next level players, that could really
Tyler Hero with the completed tattoo I might be interested in. I was going to say Kyle Lowry, because Kyle Lowry was terrible in the postseason, and maybe that was injury, but always with the age, I don't feel like he had an excellent season overall. Like he was good. He's a good player, but I feel like if Kyle Lowry, I was thinking if he could get back to like more All-Star, more All-NBA peak Kyle Lowry, maybe that's just gone. That would be the biggest for me change. But I think you talked me into Oladipo, or I think maybe Oladipo is, if we're defining it as variable, like I might lean that. John, who do you think is the biggest variable for the Heat?
I was disappointed when Chuck didn't bring up the Undertaker, Dwayne Dedmon.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was disgusted when Chuck didn't bring up a player that multiple times Chuck would text me over the course of the season and be like, are the Heat just better when Caleb Martin plays instead of Jimmy Butler?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Caleb Martin.
I like the idea, like Caleb Martin could be somebody who gets crazy minutes, but I think what he's going to do is play the Jimmy role when they give Jimmy breathers, because I think Jimmy's got to play less minutes because you want him fresh for the playoffs. I think Caleb Martin is Jimmy insurance, but he's not going to play. Yeah. He's not going to start. I don't think we said it here. He doesn't have enough butt to play the 4. And that's the only role that he could get big minutes in. I could be wrong about that. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I think Caleb Martin, you got as much out of him as you could last year. I think maybe seeing a leap from him might be too much to ask for.
So it's tied for second in the division last year. The Atlanta Hawks, they made some big moves, bringing DeJounte Murray. Who do you guys think is the big variable? I feel like we know what we get from Trey, although, let's ignore playoff Trey, but like we know what you get from Trey, what you get from John Collins, Clint Capella, like DeJounte Murray. Is there anybody else that you think could transform this team, a variable that could transform this team into maybe them getting back to like the conference finals or something? John, who do you got?
So I'm a relentless Clint Capella hater, so I'm going to say Onyeka Okongwu.
And he's good.
I'm going to say, I think he's going to, be in the mix more, perhaps even supplant Clint Capella. I think if they can get more minutes from him, it just makes him a much better team, because when Capella's on the floor, there's some things that he does really well, but I think on the whole, he bogs the team down, and they could be a much sleeker, faster, kind of horrifying offensive team with, the likes of, I don't want to say any other players, and you guys.
I like how you said bogs the team down without mentioning Bogdan Bogdanovic.
I didn't want to say it.
Who's a variable player for you for this team that unloaded Kevin Huerter in all his white glory?
So I think DeAndre Hunter, if he's healthy,
yes,
because he looked like he was the one player that, like, when the Heat played the Hawks last year in the playoffs, like, I looked at him and go, this dude is incredible.
Their best John player Collins, for long stretches.
Yeah. John Collins didn't jump off the screen for me. Trey looked like a shell of himself, but DeAndre Hunter looked incredible. And he plays incredible defense. But yeah, he's had some injury concerns. Didn't really play 2 years ago. This year he missed a bunch of games. So if he can be healthy, if he can take a step forward, because last year his scoring numbers were worse. His free throw percentage was worse. Like he didn't really improve outside of his like 3-point shooting. So yeah, DeAndre Hunter, man,
100%.
I love him.
Yeah, not going to overthink it. For me, it's all DeAndre Hunter. If he's healthy and if he's performing like we saw a couple seasons ago. I mean, I think the fit is a question mark. Is John Collins like the fit of DeJounte and Trey, and like, is John Collins going to stay? Those are all big questions. But for me, like the biggest variable player, absolutely DeAndre Hunter. The Hawks were tied with the Hornets last year. Hornets, I don't know what their season's going to be. I mean, the Miles Bridges thing, he gone. Is it just Gordon Hayward? Is that the only one? Like, if Gordon Hayward's good, they're going to be okay. I have a hard time envisioning this team being good.
I feel like if PJ Washington doesn't take some sort of leap, they're going to be pretty unbelievably bad. And I don't think PJ Washington's going to take some sort of leap. But yeah, there's a large hole left by Miles Bridges.
Let's just go check. Did you have anybody else you wanted to add to that? Like, what are you going to do? Like, maybe Mark Williams is good. Does James Bouknight do anything? LaMelo Ball has to get better, but like, I don't think he's going to carry them to 50 wins in any universe.
Gordon Hayward and Trez Harrell, like those two guys.
He's not even he's a free agent.
Yeah,
is he?
Yeah, he's not there.
I didn't think they're going to bring him back based on, I mean, yes, he got arrested, but like combined with the bad look of Miles Bridges, it feels like one of those like PR. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, the Hornets, sorry for all the Hornets fans.
So weird. The Hornets fans were so excited at the beginning of last year.
In the beginning of the season too, the actual season. Yeah. Maybe it's Kelly Oubre.
Could be Oubre. Could be Oubre. They could unleash the power of Thor.
Oh my God! If we're talking about Kai Jones, let's move on.
Yes,
two teams left in the division. The Wizards last year. Who's a variable? Can we say Bradley Beal because he's just be better? Like I'm not putting any players off the table. Who would you be your swing player?
By saying that, you're saying that Bradley Beal is not on the superstar list, which I agree with.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he's on the list. I mean, I don't even know who fits the criteria of this
Corey
exercise
Kispert.
For the
Can
Wizards.
we talk about Kristaps? What about
Kristaps? Can Kristaps bounce back? Maybe, sure, yes. Say Kristaps.
I mean, they did add Monty Morris and Will Barton. I mean, they
got okay guys
transformed.
Like Kyle Kuzma's okay. I mean,
last year
Kyle Kuzma's kind of a deal now.
One of the more like confusing things that happened last season was Rui Hachimura like kind of disappearing for a large part of the season. His first 2 years he was great. He could be one of those like super role players that like
this smacks of a top shot you purchased.
I have multiple Rui Hachimura top shots. This is me trying to bring his value up.
I mean, like if you combined all the players, could we say like Rui plus Denny plus Kispert plus Johnny Davis? If any of those guys are okay, maybe. All right, I'll go with Daniel Gafford. If Daniel Gafford can get up, if he has the
stats man,
if he has the 25 minutes per game in him, if he has the aerobic ability to play that,
that's
stamina,
72 fouls right there.
I mean, 25
minutes of Daniel Gafford, 72
it's
fouls.
hard. I don't see like a swing player for the Wizards where I'm like, this guy's the difference between them winning 50 games for the first time in 30 years and just winning 32 games again.
Not a Corey Kispert believer, I see.
A guy that could surprise though. He was hyped coming out of the draft. You mentioned him, Keith, was Denny Avdia. Like he's 21.
He's solid. He's okay.
He's a baby.
Is this another pump and dump, Elon Muskie?
I'm all in on foreign players.
Let's wrap up with the Orlando Magic. Who we don't know if they're gonna be any good. Like I guess if you want to pick the rookie Paolo Banchero, I'll allow it. But is there any like swing guy for this team? What's the variable guy for this team that's going to lead them to hit the over? How about that, John?
Interestingly, I think it's still Cole Anthony, and perhaps not in the way you might expect. I think it will have to do with how he adjusts to a lesser role, or if he can accept a lesser role, because as much as he kind of carried them for stretches, they're not going to win games if he is their primary ball handler scorer type guy. I don't think so. I think how Cole Anthony adjusts to being fourth option will be huge.
They have a lot of guys where I feel like maybe they do understand this, but from an outsider perspective, I feel like they have a lot of guys who the coach needs to be like, hey, you're not the guy. Like Cole Anthony, this is not your team. Jalen Suggs, this is probably not your team. I mean, maybe Jalen Suggs is the one. For me, actually, I think the big swing guy, like there's two I think that are glaring in my own brain as I came up with these parameters. One is Jonathan Isaac. Does he play basketball? I'm going to assume Jonathan Isaac
makes too much money on the news.
Speaking tour. I don't think he makes enough. I don't think he plays basketball. I think Markelle Fultz is a swing guy.
Yeah.
Like if Markelle Fultz is playing 70 games, if he's playing 25 minutes per game, if he's not in like the specific, we're limiting you to whatever it is, like 19 minutes a game on a special playing time limitation. I feel like Markelle Fultz could be like, if Wagner pops again in year 2, if Banchero comes in and plays well, if you get anything from Jalen Suggs, if you get anything from your veterans, if Markelle Fultz is ready to like play serious minutes and improve, well, then suddenly maybe you have a young and frisky team. So I think because of that, I'll pick
those
Fultz.
Minutes even with their roster construction? Are those minutes even available? I wonder.
I think Fultz is a priority. I think I would assume he's more of a priority than Cole Anthony. I could be wrong there. Like Cole Anthony, I think is going to be a solid backup point guard.
But Suggs is a higher priority than
but I think they probably want Suggs at 2 and like Fultz at 1.
And Banchero, he's a ball handler. He's going to be somebody that the offense has to kind of go through despite.
But I think Fultz can do off ball a little bit. I don't know. Chuck, do you have anybody else that we haven't mentioned, or do you agree with any of the names?
I just like saying the name Chuma Okeke, so I'll just say that.
It is one of the more enjoyable NBA names to put in your mouth. Chuma Okeke feels good.
So velvety.
Well, he's another guy like if you play fantasy basketball, you need those steals and blocks. Oh my God, he's an absolute hero.
7 steals,
but his shots are out of control. That guy airballs more shots maybe than any guy in the NBA. We're just like the shots are so far off.
Russell Westbrook. I agree.
Well, not Russell Westbrook category. By the way, I feel like the Lakers, trying to cover for Jeannie Buss's Twitter, saying these offers are not legitimate. Jeannie Buss has been hacked. They should have tried that after the Russell Westbrook trade.
Absolutely.
hey, we've been hacked.
That's tremendous.
Maybe it is Okeke. I like Fultz. Anyway, I think there's a lot of fun variables. We'll knock down another division next week on the show. If you want to lock in your spot to see the Grizzlies next season and beyond, go and get those season tickets. That's your best way to guarantee the best seats at the lowest prices to see John Morant and the next gen Grizz. You get all the best games, and they start at just $11 per game. Plus, as an MVP member, you receive all the next level benefits, including special events, merchandise discounts, NBA League Pass, and more. Get your season tickets now. Call 901-888-HOOP or click grizzlies.com. That's the show. John and Chuck, thanks for stopping in. If you want to support our program, do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. You can join the Slack chat. Apologies to Mike. I forgot to send him his gift card for winning some contest. I don't remember what. I believe it was the playoff contest. I'll be getting that to you shortly. Make sure you check out YouTube to see John's amazing sunglasses robe and LA backdrop. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.